Hey, it's Webs here, and it's time to show off some Alliance pride with this new mercenary build, aka attack-based humans. And you might be thinking, why aren't you using the new mercenary Sky Admiral Rogers? Well, first of all, I don't have her leveled up how I want her to actually be. Sure, she's level 30 already, but I don't have enough coins to actually include her in this video in particular. But I could see her being a good, useful tool to replace maybe Tirion or Uther in the build, or even Cookie. But as it currently stands, Anduin kind of serves the same purpose with Holy Word Salvation. This will also counteract Diablo if you actually get this out. Or you could even use her to replace Cookie in the build, but I like the additional health just because a lot of these mercenaries actually attack your opponent. I also almost considered using Garrosh in this build over Tirion just because of the fact that it forces a enemy mercenary to actually attack, thus rocking the Retaliate on Varian. But I didn't want to go away from the whole Alliance themed build. Sure, Cookie is kind of not an Alliance themed character, but he's not really a Horde themed character either. And if I was going to include some Horde characters in here, I would probably include Garrosh and Rokara, just as they're both really good attack based support. And you don't know if your opponent's actually going to be playing a build that actually attacks you or not, so Varian might be worse off in those types of matchups anyways. So the starting setup for this build is actually pretty flexible. It just depends on what your opponent's actually playing. If they're playing a bunch of blue units, you're probably going to want to place down Uther, Anduin, and Tirion as your starting lineup. But on any other case, you usually want to start with Varian, Tirion, and Uther instead. So the reasoning behind actually switching up which units you put out first is because of the fact that if your opponent has 3 caster mercenaries to start the game with, Varian is probably going to be dead if you put him out first. They're going to focus him down even though he's not a big threat for their starting out line. However, they might have a Diablo or a Samuro in the later units that they want to actually protect, and Varian's the biggest threat, so they're always going to try to get rid of him first. And instead of doing what I did while playtesting, of usually having Varian out first, learn from my mistakes and put Uther, Anduin, and Tirion down as your starting line. So the 4th unit actually depends also on the matchup. If you have a matchup where they put down a Samuro after you killed one of their additional mercenaries, and the beginning of the game you set down Anduin, Uther, Tirion, then you probably want to put down Varian as your next mercenary. If not, Cornelius is usually the mercenary that you want to play 4th, just because he's a good tank to actually protect your other mercenaries that actually attack and allow you to have more survivability with them. Him in combination with Varian can be really funny because whenever Varian attacks, it'll be redirected to Cornelius if you use Blessing of Sacrifice. The 5th unit, of course, is going to be Anduin if you didn't start off with Anduin. And if you did start with Anduin, then that's where Cornelius comes into play. But Anduin's just a great late game survivability tool, and you still have some humans to counteract even at the 5th position of being put in. And the final unit you always usually put in is Cookie, just because between him and Anduin, you make a healing wall that most people can't actually deal with. And while Cookie is originally in here just for the additional HP, his cooking actually does help a lot, just because it helps you dwindle your opponent's mercenaries down 5 damage per turn. With that being said, let's go find some games. Normal setup. Well, this is an interesting comp that I haven't seen in a while. Not really interesting per se, it's just different. As long as they attack with Samuro, we're pretty good here, actually. Because if they attack with Samuro, we instantly kill it. If they attack into Varian with Samuro, it's kind of funny though. Well, they got rid of Varian, which sucks, but oh well. Okay, so what will they put? They have 2... Yeah, let's put Cornelius out. Okay, Cario. We're going to try to get rid of the Zyrilla first. I know it's not probably going to be possible with Cariel there, but sometimes it lucks out, you know? Then we're going to do it like this. So that dying is not good. Got Anduin, I guess. Let's do Judgment. The fact that we can't kill the Zyrilla because it's behind the stupid Cariel is annoying. So one of those should be Thrall, and the other one should be either Vol'jin or Nataline, I think? Or Varden. Varden's the other one. We can get the carry all down this turn, we should be fine. Though having that die before we can get out the salvation sucks. Okay, I guess we got Cookie. Okay, Cairn. You are dying no matter what this turn. I don't care. I need that Zyril off the board. It's too damn annoying at this point. We get the Divine Shields back. So it was Varden. Okay. Let's focus down the Cairn, just so we don't have to worry about it, since our last big source of damage is Tirion. Everything's going to be so damn slow this turn. I don't think they can kill Tirion, though. I actually think they're on the uphill battle and not us, since we do have 2 heals. We have 2 heals and we have basically infinite divine shields and we win. Okay, so they have more casters than other units. So I'm gonna put in these 3. Oh, they're nature. Okay. I know how to do this. Do I think this comp is good in this particular case? Probably not, but I know the general gist of how nature operates. No, we're just going to focus it down. I have a feeling that I could do this differently, use the AoE and Avenging Wrath, but I just want to make sure Varian dies this turn. Okay, they're going to make Anduin slower. And then target down Tirion. Well, at least the Malfurion is also dead. Question is, do I want to put Kyriot? Yeah, let's put Cookie down. I should have put the Varian down. Oh, I did not expect to see a Sam Murrow here. Shouldn't be a hard decision to choose which one to focus down. It should always probably be the Anduin. But I guess they're going to go after Uther. I'm fine with that. I honestly prefer that over Anduin, but... Okay, we're putting down Varian. We're making everything here, or all our humans quicker, and then we're focusing it down Brucon. Because Varian's thing should go out. Yeah. Though Varian being as low as he is kind of frightening, but now that makes sense. We're just gonna do this. We're gonna make everything bleed more, and then we're gonna do that. I don't predict Varian surviving here, so we might as well focus down the middle unit. Actually, you know what? Let's do it like that. They're already facing an uphill battle with the amount of damage that we can do and heal between Anduin and Cornelius, but... Or just Anduin, I guess. That should heal us up. Who's the last unit? I feel like I'm forgetting a nature Brightwing. Please don't be Brightwing. Oh, Anduin. Okay, that's not what I expected. We'll eventually kill this Brucon. I don't know how long it's going to take us, but we'll eventually kill this damn thing. There we go. I don't like the idea of keeping Anduin alive last, but I think that might be the way to go here. Because as long as we keep 2 units alive compared to their 1, we should be able to out-heal whatever damage Anduin does. Though I wish that was the opposite order there. Okay, so we just heal, then we do that. Just rinse and repeat, basically. We're doing at least 10 damage per turn here. And they give up. Oh shit, it's Beast. This is actually a pretty good matchup if we can land the Varian. So my question is Varian going to be dead by the end of this first turn? Should have actually just focused down Crush. The nice thing about Retaliate is it has no CD, so I can just spam it every turn if I really need to. They're going to focus down Uther. Okay, that's perfectly fine. Uther's dead, sadly, but oh well. We did do a lot of damage to their board. So, we're going to pull down Cornelius. I'm going to focus that. We're going to do that. And that, I guess. Because the lowest attack one is going to... But we kill it before it can get its attack off. Alright, I think we're actually in a pretty good position. I don't know what the last 3 units are going to be. Ah, just nature. Okay. Let's try to focus down the Rexar. That's going to balance between... Rexar's dead. Alright, we place down Anduin next. What are their final 2? Okay, that one of those is a shock and the other one not so much. You'll... I'm gonna try to salvation here. Okay, that actually worked out incredibly well. We're gonna heal, then we're gonna attack. Nice thing here is we have plenty of ways to heal, but they have no ways to heal. I'm going to keep the Varden up last just because I don't want a stray. I'm going to kill that. I don't want a stray freeze to hit Varian. Bounce. We do lose Varian, but oh well. We can just heal. And we can also heal with Cookie. Ah, we should just win. If they don't give up, we just win by default by War of Attrition. Alright, now that we're through some games, let's discuss my final thoughts of the build. So the build was not the best in the world. There's probably a multitude of reasons for it, but the main one is probably because I focused too much on the human attack synergy that exists between Varian and some of the other human mercenaries that actually attack. However, with that being said, games usually went one of 3 ways. You instantly fell super behind because your opponent actually dealt with your Varian pretty early, along with some of your other early attacking units, which is where changing up your starting lineup depending on what your opponent's mercenary composition at the start of the game comes in as a factor. If they had more caster mercenaries on their team, you usually wanted to change it up to being Anduin, Uther, and Tirion as your starter instead. You also had games where you wouldn't fall too far behind and would probably trade one unit for another unit in the early game, and then you would just win a war of attrition between Anduin and Cookie. Or you had the third type of game where you killed 2 of their mercenaries and then they instantly gave up, similar to the clip behind me right now. However, those games didn't actually happen that often, the depressing fact about this build. However, it does prove the fact that Varian by himself can actually carry a team if the meta actually allows him to. If the meta shifts towards more fighter mercenaries that actually attack, he's going to be a very meta-relevant threat. However, given the fact that currently casters are the most relevant mercenaries actually in the game, besides Diablo, this build doesn't currently have a place in the current meta. Though there are ways that you can easily improve on this build. If you want to go down more of a holy human route, that's probably a safer option, just because adding Wrynn into this team by taking out either Tirion or Cookie probably be a bright idea. Cookie though, however, actually showed his worth a lot more than I had expected in the build, a lot more than Tirion ever did in the entire build, just for the fact that Cookie can help your Anduin actually get buffed up for a bunch of HP towards the later end of games, where they're the only 2 mercenaries actually left alive. But Tirion usually doesn't live long enough for you to actually use a Blessing of Kings on any other mercenary. Blessing of Kings had a 1 turn cooldown instead of a 2 turn cooldown, which meant you could actually play on turn 2 instead of turn 3. I think Tirion would actually fit a lot better in this build, but as he currently stands, he's really just used for his Ashbringer, and sometimes you can get divine shields on all your attacking mercenaries, but this doesn't usually come up, but it is still a possibility. And if you also have Sky Admiral Rogers leveled up, that also might be another mercenary you could include over something like Tirion or even Cornelius, just so you had some type of counter to Diablo more consistently at least. But I didn't have her fully leveled up yet while I was recording this video, so I decided against it. With that all being said, my final thoughts are, unless you just want to mess around with Varian as a build, and you have some of the other mercenaries in this team, don't waste your time with leveling it up. It's going to be a big disappointment, though it is really fun to actually get a big Varian turn off here and there, and especially in PvP where you can just solo certain PvE bosses with just using Varian himself. With that being said, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and until next time, bye bye.